Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Alliance live show number 31. This is your host, Ramon Azab, a.k.a. Remom with the Alliance, and I'm joined again, surprisingly, by my co-host and an esteemed colleague, good old Maurice, the Golden Chinchilla. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Doing good. So, lots of stuff to talk about. What are you saying?
The big 3-1.
The big 3-1, yes. We had the big 3-0 last week, the big 3-1 this week, and, God willing, we'll have the big 3-2 next week. But,
That's right.
Yeah, just, sometimes Saturday, sometimes Friday, but always a lot of fun. The most important thing. So,
that's right.
Lots of stuff to talk about. Territory Wars update was given to us a little bit earlier. There was a beta for Territory, like an open beta that was given to all the players for Territory Wars. Did you participate?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Not very much, but I am in there and I am fooling around with it.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it's got to be on an Android device, and my tablet stays at home. It's not like portable with me, so I can only have limited playtime. But it's been fun.
Yeah, I mean, I did not get a chance to participate in the beta. I have seen some Territory Wars though, so I know what it's about. But overall, the update gives us just a little bit of info, kind of detailing some of the points you're gonna have to look at when you first get started. I guess some of the major points to look at here. I guess the notes on the forums here basically say that you're going to have to work together to defend, these territories with your guild, and Territory Wars are going to be sort of operating on the times that territory battles are not going to be operating. So they're going to be kind of on territory battles, then off Territory Wars, kind of like back and forth. So I'm assuming that's how it's going to work. Now, are these Territory Wars just as long as territory battles, or how long do they take, Maurice?
I think it's 3 days. There's like a 24-hour prep phase, and then there's like a phase where you set your defensive teams, and then the phase where you actually attack. I think that's right. 3 days.
Okay. So
then,
from what you've seen so far,
it looks like they're just going to try to cram it in there.
Yeah, it seems like that. But from what you've seen so far, what do you think is the most important thing to take into territory battles? I mean, do you think it's having multiple different, let's say, arena viable squads, or is it more about having, let's say, multiple different characters with high GP and high gear? For example, like let's say, would you want to have some good, let's say, like 3 or 4 good arena squads that you want to put in there, or are you thinking you could just use like random different characters and put them in on defense, and it's all about galactic power?
Well, I mean, obviously, the more characters and the better teams you have, the better you are personally going to do for your guild. But there are ways around it.
Do you understand what I mean? What I'm trying to say is that, like, there are characters out there, like, for example, like the clones, right? They're an interesting team, especially for PvE content in this game. But would they be considered a viable arena team? Absolutely not. Would that be a team that you'd want to take into Territory Wars, for example?
Maybe on offense. I used mine, and they're good. Like, for instance, I faced a pretty pimped out like bounty hunter team. Like, somebody put their bounty hunter Boba Fett leading there, and the clones kind of wiped them out. But the clones aren't going to be good versus meta teams. But the clones are going to be very good offensively against other teams that might not be meta as well, but they're still solid teams, like bounty hunters, maybe some other sort of makeshift scoundrel comp. Maybe like even just some of the lesser Empire teams, maybe like somebody's B Empire team. I mean, they'll be useful. I don't think they're going to be mandatory, but there's lots of squads like that will come in handy. The bounty hunters, just the Ewoks, even Phoenix. Some of the teams you don't see in arena are going to be pretty good for these territory wars, just for depth.
So what I found interesting is, unlike territory battles or unlike raids, it's going to be left up to the guild leaders to kind of decide who's going to do what parts of it. So you can have people that you select to be more defensive minded players, and then you have people that can be more offensive minded roles. So I mean, you can have people that do both, or you can just be assigned to only put out defensive teams. So I mean, you can kind of, I guess, divvy up the different available characters that you have. But I mean, really what this means now is you're just going to have to basically break out a spreadsheet. I mean, if you guys haven't done this already, I'm sure you're doing this already now for territory battles, but you have to break out a spreadsheet and take a look at all the characters that each player has and just kind of break down, who's going to be able to put out the best defensive squads and who's going to be able to put out the best offensive squads.
I think initially, but I think you're right. I think that's what everyone's going to do. Everyone's going to be excited about it. It's a new game mode. A lot of strategy. It's just kind of a small board. But a guildmate of mine compared it to the board game Stratego. I've never played that game really, but he was breaking it down and comparing it to that. It's been a lot of fun for the first few weeks, but I think over time, not everybody in your guild is going to be super interested in this game mode. So like the guys that really don't care are probably going to be your defensive guys. They can just get in there and just spread their characters all across the board, and then maybe leave the offense for the players that are more into the game mode, enjoy it more. Because burnout's going to be an issue. And so if you're worried about like a guildmate burning out, just tell them to put all their teams on defense, because you're going to have crap teams in there. You're not going to have meta teams.
Right.
20 deep in every territory. There's going to be garbage teams in there, just filler teams. We'll see. I'm not really sure. Like, I haven't got to spend too much time with it, man, so I don't know exactly how we're going to tackle it. But...
Yeah, it seems like the assignments are guild based and not individually based. So you basically have the ability to, you're going to have to set a certain amount of defensive squads per guild versus how each person having to set their own defensive squad. So that should be interesting. Now in the attack phase, players attack their opponent's defensive squads on the front territories. Defensive squads have persistent health, exactly like Galactic War. So players need to work together to defeat the opponents. Unlike Galactic War, to prevent any one meta squad from dominating the map, attack squads that successfully defeat an opponent are not available for future attacks. So, once you use the squad, you can't use them again. So, I mean, you're going to really have to have, I guess, a kind of deep offensive squad also, because otherwise you're not going to have enough characters, or you're not going to have enough viable teams to really get through the territory war.
Yeah, what's going to be interesting is... I've been talking to a lot of people in the community and just around the game in general, and a lot of people really kind of like the putting the meta teams in the front and then putting like the annoying teams in the back, like Darth Maul leads. The reason we don't see Darth Maul in Arena anymore is because we have a few key characters that just completely neutralize them. But if you hit like a Darth Maul lead, Zeta lead on the final phase, and you don't have any of those characters, it's going to be real tough to take those teams out, like Night Sister teams, like Sith teams, and the annoying evasion teams. There's all sorts of stuff you can build. Even, you really got to utilize your roster, maybe bust out some Count Dooku leads and old Ben leads, stuff like that. Just want to be annoying. And it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of characters in my roster that haven't been used in a while. I'm going to have to use them now.
Yeah, of course. Now, I did, just to mess around a little bit, I told you a couple of times how I really wanted to Zeta Old Ben and that taunt. I did it the other day. So now I have a Zeta Old Ben, and I got him to gear 12, so he's pretty awesome. But I thought that, with Hermit Yoda, it was going to be a little bit different. I mean, he is great, but again, I think I just need better mods for him. That's the main thing.
Well, I think Hermit Yoda is going to be a perfect example of a great character to have for this territory, like war. He kind of fits in so many teams. His characters are all around use, like Boba Fett, Hermit Yoda, any tank really. Characters like that just you can throw in any squad. Those Zeta Kylos that everyone rushed to Zeta that they haven't used in a while. He is something else in these territory wars. You'd be really glad that you did that a few months ago, because he's really useful. Like characters, just all around characters are going to be real helpful. You'll be happy you have him.
Oh yeah, no, I don't doubt he'll be a good asset to the team. It's just again, it's all again. It really has a lot to do with mods too. It's it depends on where you're at with that. right now, the team's pretty good. Again, I think the main thing though is again, having a character like Hermit Yoda, having characters like, let's say for example, like you currently you have the Night Sisters. Having different squads like that are going to be very beneficial, because having somebody just simply like Mother Talzin now makes Night Sister Initiate, Night Sister Zombie, all these characters viable now, so they actually can make a decent team. So the main thing you want to do is kind of the main thing you want to do is kind of have a platoon or a set of squads that you can put out there, much like when we had the tournaments where you had to have, let's say, 4 or 5 different arena teams that you could use. At those times, I used to run, let's say droids against droids. I would run, a Rebel squad with Akbar. I would run a Rogue One team. I would run, all different squads. Just because the main thing you want to do is just have a nice solid base of characters that you can get into or pull into at any time for these territory wars. It's also going to, I imagine, be based upon how busy people are. So if you, let's say, have certain guys that are going to be away for the weekend or just unavailable to deploy certain characters at certain times, you're going to have to rely on other characters for yourself, because you have to go deeper down your roster. So you're going to want to make sure you have a pretty deep roster. You're also going to want to make sure that you have viable characters that are going to not only help you win, let's say some of these combat missions, but also be able to withstand an attack on defense as well.
Well, you mentioned droids. I think droids are like, I didn't even mention it. That's like all of you guys that leveled up your droids to originally use it like P2. You haven't used them in months. I mean, they came. I used my droids and they came in real handy. Come in like you're going to face a lot of like Gear 9-ish, Gear 10-ish type teams with average mods. You don't want to underestimate them and go in there and just lose. But I mean, droids are great for just clearing them out. I've seen people use Jawas. A couple of guys in the guild use Jawas to knock out some of the smaller teams. It's just you really are you're gonna use everybody on your roster. So I'm kind of looking forward to brushing the dust off the good old droids. It's been a while.
Well, I'm hoping that they do give some sort of a rework for droids at some point. That's just a dream of mine, but it can't be too far fetched. I mean, listen, these characters are definitely just missing something. I don't know, how much love the droids would really need to be good again, if you want to call it that. I just think that it would be not just new abilities or something like that. It would take a lot. It would take Zetas. I think it would take. I mean, honestly, it would take Zetas. It would take. A nice addition to either giving a leader ability, like a really sick leader ability to somebody like General Grievous, or just making a really sick addition to HK-47's leader ability. I think you and I have talked about this before, but that would be awesome. Yeah, but I mean, just to finish up with territory wars, I mean, I think that again, it's just something that is. It's gonna be really figured out. Obviously, when the game mode comes out and we get a chance to have it in our hands and we take a look at what we're really getting out of it. But I think that the main thing to take from it is that at some point, whether that be right away when Territory Battles comes out or down the road, you're going to be working towards having, I think, at least, it seems like you're going to want to have maybe at least I don't know, 5 to maybe 6 really good like viable teams at some point. And that's not to say that you're not going to need teams also for the eventual darkside TB that we're going to get. So whenever that happens, you're going to have to be prepared for that too, because there'll be a whole set of requirements for that also. So we just got to get ready and be prepared for this. It's a lot of cool content coming over the next few weeks. We got Last Jedi coming in less than a month. So really excited. This is a great time to be a Star Wars fan. It's a great time to be playing this game. Got a lot of great content coming. I'm sure we're going to get a lot of cool characters besides Jedi Rey. There's also these Praetorian Guards. I'm sure we'll get, hopefully we'll get some sort of version of Snoke or something like that. I mean, we'll have to wait and see, but I'm excited. So moving on, I want to go into the Meta report real quick here. We'll take a look at that. So, looking at the top 10 rank 1 leaders, again, we're looking at Commander Luke Skywalker at rank 1 with General Kenobi, followed by Captain Rex, or Rex CT 7567. And then we also have Grand Admiral Thrawn behind him, with Akbar actually sneaking his way up past Grand Admiral Thrawn. So that's pretty interesting. Akbar seeing a lot more use, and I think that has to do or directly correlates with the increasing people unlocking Hermit Yoda. What do you think about that?
100%.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. I got 2 or 3 of them on my short.
you got 2 or 3. Yeah. That's what's happening. Asajj Ventress there, still holding on at the end. Mother Talzin working her way up too. Mother Talzin's now right behind Grand Admiral Thrawn. So Mother Talzin, a very not a very much used leader, but a leader that's being used. It's tough to say anybody's a very much used leader besides Commander Luke Skywalker. I mean, you have besides General Kenobi, Rex, and CLS. I mean, everybody else is really just kind of a secondary character. They're just kind of a hope and a dream to try to have something different in their arena other than the standard meta right now. But Wedge Antilles is still in there. Finn still in there. Qui-Gon Jinn. Who's running Qui-Gon Jinn at rank 1 in arena right now?
I don't know. I don't have any in my top 20, but
maybe with Hermit Yoda. I mean, maybe I tried that. I tried that myself, and it really didn't work too well for me. I even threw like Ezra Bridger in there with Zeta, and it just didn't work out so well. So I moved on. But maybe there's a composition I'm not thinking of. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be maybe a younger shard. Because I mean these stats include newer shards of 3, 4, 5, 6 months. And I can see that being real effective because these newer shards don't have Thrawns, they don't have Palpatines, they don't have Yodas, they don't have the legendary characters that make up they don't have CLS. These characters that make up the meta teams right now, they don't have access to. So I can see a few of those guys maybe, succeeding with Qui-Gon leads.
Okay, so let's move on to the top 10 squad members at rank 1, and we're looking at, again, R2-D2, but it looks like General Kenobi has actually surpassed CLS as the number 2 character on this list, which is kind of bananas, because you figure with how dominant CLS is on the leader side, he'd still be right behind R2-D2, but no, General Kenobi now surpassed, look, not by much either, 30, you're looking at 2886 over 2859, so just a few away. Pretty interesting. And Grand Admiral Thrawn's right behind him, so he's right on the tail there, a few hundred behind him. So it's an interesting race here, and you have it seems like Darth Nihilus again getting more use. Han Solo's kind of falling behind Grand Admiral Thrawn now, even further back. So it seems like he's there, but all the way at the bottom now, Rex. Not getting quite as much use as a squad member anymore, really more just as a leader. But
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, again, usually we don't really see much change on this list. Glad to see there's a little bit of movement. Looks like General Kenobi's just getting used more, and I don't know if that correlates with more people unlocking General Kenobi, because I mean, he's been out in the game for a while now, so I'm assuming it's just there's more people using General Kenobi because there's more people getting Zeta Barris. That's the only thing I can imagine. But yeah, interesting nonetheless. And you can use General Kenobi really in any type of squad composition. So if there's people running new squads out there, like for example the people running Mother Talzins now, the people running Hermit Yoda now, they're probably using General Kenobi also. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, there's a lot. I use Kenobi in my Talzin team sometimes on defense. Kenobi fits everywhere.
Right. Right.
And Panda's in the chat actually saying a Jedi team destroyed his Night Super team.
Oh yeah.
So maybe some of the Qui-Gons are figuring that out. Yeah, maybe.
Well, listen, every team has its day, I guess. I think the Night Sister team is going to be a really interesting team, especially like I said for Darkside TB, also for for the territory wars. I think just having Mother Talzin eventually will be almost a necessity at some point. And fortunately, I mean, we'll be able to get her out of that event monthly, and maybe they'll release some other way to farm her faster. But definitely a great character for both those game modes whenever they do hit the streets. And I don't think we're too far away here from territory wars. So yeah, interesting stuff. But that's the meta report for you. Now Maurice has gone ahead and gotten us together another top 10 list. Are you prepared?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to be looking today at the top 10 darkside leaders in the game, courtesy of the Alliance and good old Maurice. So, have you put a lot of thought into this? Are you thinking that your list of the top 10 is the best list of the top 10?
Well, I think it's an overall top 10 list, including possibly the territory wars coming up. A little bit of arena, a little bit of PvE stuff, raid type things. And this is actually voted on in the Alliance chat. I put a poll up, and they were kind of lame. None of the options were super exciting because I didn't want to start talking about guild versus guild yet, or the territory wars. With all of us just getting our hands on it. So maybe next week we could do something, revolving around that. But this one actually was the clear-cut winner, is the top 10 darkside leaders. So you want to go ahead and start on
it? Yeah, sure. Let's go ahead.
All right. Number 10, we've got, let me make sure I got the right one here. Number 10 is going to be Asajj Ventress. She is going to be a Night Sister exclusive lead. And that's the problem with these leads. Most of the darkside, all the leads in the game in general, most of them are faction specific. So if you have a really strong Night Sister team, maybe Asajj is a little higher for you. And all these leaders, depending on your roster, might be a little different than what I have. But Asajj is going to be the first one, and especially even without the Zeta, she still removes turn meter.
What an interesting pick there, Asajj Ventress. I mean, I guess once you get down to number 10, the list gets kind of thin, right? There's not a ton.
Well, because basically when I was looking at the darkside leaders, there's like 18 or 19 options, and 3 of them are just completely ridiculous, and then there's 12 Empire ones, and then there's like a handful of non-Empire darkside leaders, and she happens to be one of them. But it's actually a very good leader ability, especially for you saw her in the meta report. There's actually 11 people using her, so she's creeping up there from 5 from last week, and also she's going to be excellent.
6 more people this week. Yes, she's creeping up.
I mean, she's going to be excellent in any sort of PvE content.
Well, no, she's. I mean, listen, she's in the top 10 leaders period right now, so she's got to be in the top 10 dark side. I mean, without a doubt,
right? And she basically is. If you put the Zeta on her, all the Night Sisters get 50% turn meter when they fall below 100% health, and they're pretty squishy, but they have a lot of team faction wide healing. Like Talia gives AOE healing on her basic attack. Asajj and has 55% health still. There's lots of health going back and forth. Acolyte heals herself. You got Doc, obviously, so they're going to constantly be going below. Basically, every time, once they lose protection, every time they get hit, they're going to get hit and get 50% turn meter. And then also, anytime a Night Sister damages an enemy, they have a 50% chance to remove turn meter. So I've sold the Rancor with Asajj lead. Asajj lead is a pretty viable option to sold the Rancor, especially for a newer player that's not going to have access to Vader for a few months. She's somebody that you could build a free-to-play Rancor solo team immediately, almost the first 2 months of the game. Bearing you can get mods and stuff, but you can build a quick team to sold the Rancor as a new player. She's going to be phenomenal for like a darkside TB, because if you look at her ability, basically it's the reverse of what Finn does, and Finn is the go-to non-rebel leader for these territory battles we have now, and she, instead of just giving her team turn meter when you pop and expose, she takes away turn meter, just like Vader. She basically does the same thing as Vader, but just for the Night Sister. So she's going to be a real interesting, viable option. Probably more so in the future than she is maybe right now, but it's coming.
Yeah, so, and if we could let Maurice just sit here and talk about Asajj Ventress, we'd be sitting here all night. So we're gonna move on. And Asajj Ventress, I mean, she even has nice hair. I mean, when you just look at her, it's like it just glistens in the wind. She's amazing. This is like even when she walks, there's pixie dust behind her. She just leaves a trail of pixie dust. She's amazing. She's like magic. All right, so let's move on to the next thing, which is number 9. And number 9 is a throwback to a little bit of what we were talking about earlier. HK-47. HK-47.
Yeah. Again, just not very many darkside leaders that are not Empire. But if you're going to run a droid team and they're going to be helpful for territory wars, you're going to have HK-47. He is by far the best leader for the droids. Very good leader ability. Unfortunately, just there's not many, relevant, viable droids to back him up. But like you mentioned, if they ever do like a droid rework, or possibly add maybe another droid or two to the game somehow, his leadership could pop. You can see droids everywhere again. I mean, his leadership is just that good.
He actually has like one of the best leaders in the game, period. It's just not very advanced at the moment. I mean, when you compare it to like, let's say something like Commander Luke Skywalker's lead, I mean, there's just so much more complex with the protection regen, let's say from like, from like Thrawn's lead to like, all the bonuses you get. It's just the leader abilities and the abilities period in this game now compared to the abilities back when characters like HK-47 were created that haven't been updated yet are just so much more advanced. So it's just tough to use any of these characters because there's just so little. It's just so basic. I mean, for example, you look at his leader ability here. It just says droid allies have 30% critical chance and gain 50% turn meter on a critical hit. That's literally it. You know what I'm saying? And then you look at a character like a more recent character, for example, like let's say Mother Talzin. Let's take a look at Mother Talzin's leader ability. Right, Mother Talzin's leader ability is Night Sister allies gain plus 50% potency and plus 30 speed. When Night Sister I mean, just look at how much goes into this leader ability. It's so involved. There's so much detail to it. There's a lot more intricate. So I mean, again, like I said, I just feel like obviously when the droids do get that rework, if they add some more language there to the abilities and give them some more complexity, it'll make them a lot more viable for sure.
Well, yeah. Well, you look at his. I mean, it does look dull. 30% crit chance, 50% turn meter.
Oh, it's unbelievable. I mean, just those two things are great. I'm just saying that it's
right. But you look at the droids, and all of them have like 88's got an AOE. IG-100 has an AOE. Grievous has an AOE. So they get in there, and if they crit twice on their AOE.
Oh, it's like an automatic crit. It's like an automatic crit. It's like an automatic crit.
They're going again.
They're going to go again. They're going to get turn meter almost every time. And but I would love to hear this read more like droid allies gain 30% critical chance and gain 50% turn meter on a critical hit. Additionally, whenever a droid ally is hit by a critical hit, they gain 10% protection, or or something. Just also besides 50% turn meter, they also gain 2% protection on a critical hit. So like if they all do AOEs, let's say they get 5 AOEs, they're getting they're getting 10% protection back every time they do an AOE attack. Like that would be kind of interesting. Now I don't know if that would be enough because droids have so little, HP and so little protection as it is that they would need something more than that. I think something like a Barriss that would give them increased health. But I don't know. And you'd have to eliminate Jawa Engineer, but Jawa Engineer is the one that pretty much gives them their speed. So you'd have to find some other alternative to giving them that speed, which would be either giving speed to HK-47's leader, or maybe adding a whole new leader ability altogether from, let's say, a character like General Grievous or something like that.
Yeah, or you could use Lobot.
What a lame leader ability General Grievous has. That crit avoidance. What is it like? 50% crit avoidance or something like that. I mean, it's actually you know, we theory crafted this a long time ago, and we thought that they were like, you know, like against like anti-crit AoE teams, like this would be good. But it's not, you know, maybe with like, you know, crit avoidance arrows on everybody on the team. All enemies have negative 20% critical chance and negative 20% crit damage. That's what it is. So, yeah.
We'll see. If he gets reworked, I would imagine his leadership's going to get reworked too, because they've got, you know, they have the stats and stuff. I mean, they can see that nobody is using that leader.
They can see nobody's using the character, period. The character's just sitting there collecting dust. Still the only character in the shard shop. All right, let's go on to number 8. Maurice's number 8 is none other than the Boff.
Grandmaster Tarkin.
Grandmaster Tarkin. Darktron.
Tarkin is going to be.
Yeah. So why is he number 8?
Well, because Empire characters, for the most part, especially older ones, are slow, and his leader ability is the speed lead for the Empire. He actually got 2 more speed for some reason. They decided to give him, to bump him up from 28 to 30 speed not long ago when they reworked him. And then also, I think I don't know much about the Zeta, but I believe it exposes and gives. Click on the leader wave. I don't have Tarkin Zeta leadership. I just have his level 7.
Empire allies gain 30 speed, inflict defense down, and expose for 2 turns on enemies that fall below 100% health during Empire allies' turns. This effect can't be resisted.
Okay, yeah.
I think Annulled, you know, told me Annulled T101. He told me that he put that Zeta on him, and he instantly realized that he made the biggest mistake he's ever made. Like he said, it's like since then it's not a good Zeta. I don't know.
Well, it's just, I mean, you're going to Zeta this leader ability for the ship. Like they're really, I mean, the Zeta is not what it's about. It's the speed that you're going after, and just, you know, you start getting your Death Trooper out there, you know, reducing, you know, cooldown. You start getting Krennic going faster. You start getting, you know, Vader, any of the Empire characters you have. TIE Fighter pilot, I mean, it actually becomes what, 200 base speed essentially, or excuse me, 198 base speed if you put them already at the target. That's without mods. You know, that's crazy. So I mean, you can get out quick and do that buff immunity, an AoE buff immunity on the opposing team without really needing the top tier mods. You can get away with, you know, 60, 70, maybe 80 secondary speed on a character and have him arena viable underneath the Tarkin lead. So he's a great option for players that don't have the mods to compete at top tier.
Right, he can give you that speed boost, absolutely. All right, moving along, the number 6 of the top 10 darkside leaders is going to be the Lord of Hunger.
Yes, indeed. Darth Nihilus is going to be our number 7 here.
Number 6. No, number 7. Number 7, sorry.
You're right. Number 7. I just missed that in my Galactic War. And basically what he does is he's going to convert all the health, or all the protection of the Sith, and then he's going to turn it into health. And Sith allies gain 60% offense, then 150% health steal. Sith allies lose all protection and gain that much max health. Sith allies are immune to healing effects that aren't health steal and can't score crit hits. So that's on the Zeta. He gets 50% extra health steal. So basically, you know, whatever they're hitting you for, you know, they're just going to heal themselves up, which is incredibly annoying when you start throwing in Dooku, you know, into that mix. And other characters like, you know, anybody with AoE, like Palpatine's Shock, Vader's, you know, Dots. But they're essentially going to heal their entire health pool up, you know, when they do those moves.
Mm-hmm.
Not incredibly viable in arena really at all right now, but again, it's an excellent PvE leadership ability.
I'll tell you,
very good for.
When I heard this character was coming and I knew about his kit, okay, I thought to myself immediately, let me get this guy's offense up because he can't crit as a leader, and I was totally planning on his leader being totally dominant. You know, I mean, behind, let's say, you know, characters like Sidious, and I just thought that it was going to work really well. and it just I feel like there were people that got use out of it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I've seen people win in arena with Darth Nihilus lead. There was definitely a period of time where Darth Nihilus lead was usable also during the Darth Maul meta, but I just feel like it never really reached its full potential because it is a cool leader ability, converting all the protection to health. If you had, let's say, somebody like like a Zeta Barris on the team that added the health that gave a bonus there, but I don't know. I think that there's something missing to it. I think there needed to be something added to that leader to make it even better. Yes, Omega, bananas. It's bananas. So
well, I mean, the problem with Nihilus's lead is, I mean, you have to be a real veteran or somebody that just really likes, like, the only team you have is First Order, because the average player does not have like a plethora of offensive mod sets that are fantastic. Like, offensive mod sets are good, but they require the 4 mods, and a lot of people just kind of go for crit damage instead, and just stack a character's crit chance because the crit damage is a better option. But like in this comp, I mean, offensive sets are fantastic.
Absolutely.
So if you have a lot of offense mod, this is a team you might want to kind of build on the side, especially for territory wars coming out. It's
agreed.
It's a competitive team.
Yeah, all right, moving on to number 6. This is a character.
All right, number 6. He's a new face in the game. We got Unmasked Kylo. For those of you that are playing the Territory War beta, there's a few of these scattered into the arena sandbox that we have in that beta. And his leadership ability is something else, especially if you stack a Zeta on it. It's going to be fantastic. This would actually, a few months from now, this might even climb to the top. He's just kind of behind a little bit of a paywall. A little bit. He's behind a paywall right now, so you're not going to have too many of the 7 stars floating around.
It's amazing leader ability. An amazing leader ability, absolutely.
I mean, he basically, in my opinion, he replaces Phasma as the First Order leader. The First Order allies, this is on the Zeta. First Order allies have 40% crit damage and 30 speed. When a First Order ally scores a critical hit, they gain 20% turn meter. When a First Order ally gains a status effect, they recover 5% health and protection. I mean, this leadership ability is amazing. Yeah, I first read this leadership ability, and I instantly thought of First Order TIE Pilot. He's going to get 40% crit damage and 30 speed, and then he double taps instead of crit both times, and he'll give himself 40% turn meter. I mean, that's crazy. He's like a machine gun now. Like, that's insane. Like, he might be the highest, like, single target, like, DPS character in the game underneath the Unmasked Kylo lead. He'll outdamage Raid-Han 100% underneath that lead. Like, that's nasty. Yeah,
absolutely. It's
gonna be something else.
Yeah, no, I think his leader's been bananas. It's bananas. It's gonna be.
Again, I haven't personally used it myself, and again, he's behind a paywall and brand new. I think might even be a little low. I just didn't want to go way overboard and put him like top 3 because just because he's new and shiny. But
what we have to look for.
I think it brings a lot of. You'll be able to use it for. You can make a competitive First Order team. Just the problem with Phasma, it's a good lead, but you're slow. Like you have to set them up right. You gotta get the First Order set up to get rocking and rolling.
What we have to look forward to.
Lead, unfortunately, they just.
What we have to look forward to with him is that he's a marquee character, so he's going to fall into the normal character cadence. So he'll be available in about 2.5, 3 months. We'll be able to get this guy.
Yeah.
So if
you guys slowly gear him up and maybe slowly start working on your
First Order
squad.
Yeah.
Because you're going to need them. If you guys couldn't get BB-8, BB-8 will come back eventually, and you'll need a First Order squad.
I doubt very much that there's going to be a darkside territory battles without the First Order team as a requirement. They're going to be basically like the Rogue One team.
And again, everyone likes the Jin Zeta lead for the territory battles because of the protection regen. And with this one, the First Order, when they gain a status, same thing as Jin. They get 5% health and protection. You got to think of all the advantages they're passing around. First Order TIE Pilot gives himself foresight. Kylo gives himself taunt. Essentially every time he goes, he's just constantly giving himself taunt, and then with the Zeta ability, he's going to be giving himself health and protection as well, which is pretty nasty. Right. I'm not overly impressed with his actual kit, but his leader ability is
really good.
It's top notch.
Yeah. All right, moving along to number 5. Number 5, best dark side leader ability. in the game.
This is going to be good old tried and true Mr. Darth Vader. He would be higher because he can soul the Rancor, and that's what most people use to soul the Rancor. But with the Saj's rework and the Night's rework, she's also an option now. So that kind of takes away some of his uniqueness, I guess, in the game, and CLS as well. So he's not the only dog in the show this time. There's 3 or 4 options you can use, but you guys should know all about this. Empire and Sith allies gain 30% offense, and they have a 50% chance to remove 20% turn meter every time they damage an enemy. The turn meter removal can be resisted, just like a Saj. While Darth Vader's alive, enemies, when they drop a dot on a character, they never go away. They last until you basically kill Darth Vader. So, you pair him with a Darth Sidious, any character really that drops dots, and then you just stack them up. They just sit there and go and go and go and go until you get Darth Vader dead. So it's been around a while. This is one of the first Zetas, really, really popular Zeta when it came out. It was the Darth Vader meta. The Empire had their heyday for what, 2 months before Maul came out. But he's it's very good leader ability. Soul Rancor. He's got some use in the tank raid. It would be great in a PvE setting like a darkside territory battles, because you can just sit and melt the opposing team.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking top 10 darkside arena leader abilities, this wouldn't be it. But I mean, just overall, I mean, you could solo a Rancor with this. It's got viability in the AAT raid. You can totally still in some circles and some shards, I'm sure you can still use this guy in arena. So I mean, he's got he's got a lot of. It's a really cool leader ability. I feel like it works a lot better if you have the right pieces around it. For example, like a Sith Assassin to give him turn meter to start the encounter, something like that. I mean, it would be a lot better. I remember a shardmate of mine was running him as a leader with Sith Assassin, and for a couple of months, it was a really difficult team to fight. So it was a good team. Nowadays there's just better pieces out there. So
yeah, it's like, for those of you that are in this beta, you're starting to see some of these old teams come back around, and like they really are good teams. You just know that they fall out of the meta because a new character, or like a single character, a single leader ability, a slight rework of a faction counters them. But if you don't have those characters available to use, the Darth Vader can still be very annoying to face in a good team.
Right.
So
Number four top of the top 10 darkside leader abilities, and this is one that's been probably was, I believe, the greatest leader ability in the game at first. Since then there are definitely some leader abilities that trump this one, but when the game first came out, I always felt like this was the sandbox team of a lifetime. The sandbox dream team with a Boba Fett lead. So number 4 is Boba Fett.
Well, the reason he is high as he is, I was tempted to even put him up in the top 2. It's a universal leader ability for the crit damage. All allies gain 50% crit damage and 10% crit chance. That's always been his leader ability. But and then they reworked the bounty hunters and came out with like the Zam Wessel and some of these other characters like Dengar and stuff. So they added bounty hunter allies gain 15 speed for each debuffed enemy, gain max health equal to 50% of the total potency of all bounty hunters, and gain 15% turn meter whenever a thermal detonator explodes. But you can just unless you want to build like a pimped out bounty hunter team, you're just concerned with the top 2. You use light side characters, dark side characters. 50% crit damage and 10% crit chance is nothing to laugh at. That's pretty intense. That's a lot of damage. Go along with a pretty cool kid. He's just kind of, the character himself is just kind of faded away. He's a little squishy. Even with the revive, he's still pretty easy to kill. The character is not overly impressive anymore, but the leader ability is definitely something you're going to want to have, because the territory wars, dark side territory battles, if you're getting down to the nitty gritty and you need to build a team, you can just throw a wall behind a Boba Fett lead, and at least they'll do some damage. So I still use it on occasion. It's fun.
No, it's definitely cool. I mean, he's got He's got
no Zeta needed on this leader either. So this is one you can get the max out of for just an Omega investment of 3 Omegas for the leader ability.
Right.
So it's more of a budget. A very good character to have as a free to play player for his leader ability. He's a pilot, just a good all around character.
Right.
So.
All right, moving along. After Boba Fett, our number 3 of the top 10 darkside leaders is going to be Mother Talzin.
Yep, indeed. Most of you guys know I have an obsession with these Night Sisters right now. I wanted to put her number 1, but she is behind the largest paywall we have in the game currently right now, with just the recurring events. There's no other way to get her. So, to get her 7-star in year 12, I think the packs are about to expire or have already expired to get her. But basically, what she does is it's just Night Sister. I think you read it off earlier. Night Sister allies have 50% potency and 30 speed. When a Night Sister ally uses a special ability, they inflict plague on the selected target for 3 turns, which can't be evaded. When an enemy resists a detrimental status effect, Night Sister allies gain 5% turn meter. When a Night Sister ally uses a basic ability during their turn, a random defeated Night Sister ally is revived with 50% health and called to assist, and then they die. So basically, every time any of your characters use basic attack, they just revive a Night Sister and have them come in first. So every time, you basically, if there's a dead Night Sister, you get an assist on every single basic attack you do. And the 50% potency is nice because, like Daka, Asajj have stuns. Talia's got a couple debuffs. Initiate has a couple debuffs. Lots of dots from Initiate now. Zombie herself, and I'm not really sure. Not too keen on the Spirit. I don't really know what the Spirit does, if I'm being honest. But all these characters need potency, and when you use under a Talzin lead, that's 50% potency. So you can kind of neglect some of the potency on these mods and increase the damage, increase the speed, protection, health, whatever you choose to do, which I like. And then also the speed. Night Sisters, you get Daka going real fast. Talzin herself is semi-slow, so that's 30 speed comes in pretty handy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And now, what do you think would be? I mean, obviously, running her with a full Night Sister squad is great, but what do you think is a squad you could run her with right now if you don't necessarily have a full maxed out Night Sister team? I mean, who could you run Mother Talzin with that would be viable in Arena right now?
Well, I think you can get away with a 3-star, 4-star Talzin. If you have her gear 11, it's just like Nihilus. Everyone used Nihilus when he was 3-star, just for the gimmick, right? You use her for the plague, you use Nihilus for the annihilate. You're not really looking for the damage. You're not using her because she does a nice basic attack damage or because she's tanky. You just use her because of plague. Right. If you're fortunate enough to be playing and you could get that Night Sister zombie, even a 2-star, Panda in our chat here runs its very low geared, so you can just run those two and way understarred. I would suggest Daka. Daka's a pretty easy farm and gear. Acolyte and Zombie kind of go hand in hand with one another, because if Acolyte goes stealth, you can get all the way down to Night Sister Acolyte, who's going to be stealth the whole time, and the Night Sister Zombie will keep reviving. And every time Acolyte goes, she'll bring up another Night Sister. You'll eventually have all 5 of them back on their feet, because the AI can't handle the Zombie Acolyte right now. And the 5th, I would say Asajj, but you could use whoever you wanted. It doesn't really matter. To be top 10 Arena, you're going to need Asajj, just because she does so much damage, especially when she dies and comes back. All that offense is stacking now with her unique. So that would be the 5. That's actually the 5 I run. Zombie, Talzin, Asajj, Acolyte.
No, what I'm saying is, if you don't have 5 Night Sisters, like let's say you have to pick 2 or 3 of them, who are the 3 that you want to run?
Oh, then I would do Talzin, Zombie, Acolyte. You could run Kenobi and R2 as an effective team. R2, just insert random meta support character. Talzin, Zombie, and Acolyte are a good trio there to have. And then Kenobi, R2. You could use Thrawn Fracture. You know, you could use Radon. I mean, you could insert meta character. It doesn't matter. Whatever works on your server. So, and speaking of what I just mentioned, Thrawn, he's going to be our number 2 darkside leader in the top 10 here. And for those of you that don't know what he does, I personally have never used his lead until recently. It's pretty good. It's kind of exploitable when it's on defense because you can just debuff the whole turn, and then instead of that character taking a turn, they'll just opt to cleanse themselves with Thrawn's leader ability, which it gives, like, it basically gives all your Empire characters on your team when you have him as leader a new ability to cleanse themselves. Like, that's what the Empire always lacked, and he just gives it to them for free. Like, every character gets cleansed, which is pretty cool and helpful. But you slap the Zeta on it. Yeah, even without the Zeta, here, we'll just, Empire allies have 15% max protection, 25% offense, and gain 20% turn meter whenever they resist a detrimental effect or suffer a debuff. So they either resist or get the debuff, they're going to get 20% turn meter. Whenever the Empire ally gains or loses a status effect, they recover 2% protection. That is the Zeta part of it, the protection. And down here at the bottom is what I was talking about, the special ability maneuver is what all your Empire characters get. It's like a new box right next to their abilities. It dispel all debuffs in this character and gain 50% turn meter. So that's a nice trick to have in the bag of tricks. So he's climbing up there. In this beta, I faced a lot of Thrawn leads. Thrawn leads are going to be pretty good in the territory wars. You know, you throw them in there with the Shore Trooper, you know, Death Trooper. Oh, Omega's in the chat here. The team he's running, Arena. You know, the Thrawn, the Storm, Shore, Death Troopers, and then Krennic. It's a pretty good team, both on defense and on offense. It struggles against Barris a little bit, but it's gonna be a very nice team to have for TW on defense. If you're looking to play as like a defensive player, very difficult to deal with, especially if you don't have all your meta characters. So that's Thrawn. Just go ahead and increase his value even further with a good leader ability. He's already, you know, a fantastic character.
Yep.
Just gets better and better.
And now our number 1 darkside leader, the number 1 character you need to have in this game at number 1, darkside leader.
Whoa.
Good old Maurice.
I don't know about that, but it kills me to do this. It really did. It's Darth Maul. And for you guys have been playing for over 6-7 months, we all lived through the Darth Maul meta. And this basically goes back to what I touched on earlier. His leader ability now that TW is out is back. Because if you don't have the handful of characters that can handle a Darth Maul lead, you're going to have a real hard time getting through a wall of them on that back row of territory wars. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't have the B2s, you don't have the R2s, you don't have, you know, just the characters that can handle Darth Maul stealth leads, hey, you're in trouble. Like, it's gonna be tough. But what it does, basically, this lead requires a Zeta. Like, the Zeta doesn't enhance it. The Zeta makes the leader ability. It's all Sith allies gain 20% evasion and 20% turn meter and stealth for 1 turn at each whenever the encounter starts. Or they also get it again, the stealth, when they are critically hit. But while they're stealth, they cannot be critically hit, and they gain advantage for 2 turns when the stealth expires. The stealth and turn meter from this ability ignores taunting allies, which means if you want to use like Sith Trooper in there, he won't go stealth every time he's crit hit. He'll just continue to taunt. I hate putting him number 1, but he's going to be really, really helpful for territory wars.
I feel like if there were some stronger Sith in the game, he might actually be still, you know, a meta character. I think the problem is that there aren't really that many Sith that are great right now, besides him and, you know, besides Nihilus, really. You know, if let's say all of a sudden they dropped, you know, like a really sick Darth Revan in the game right now, I think Darth Maul leader becomes probably one of the best leaders in the game again. Depending on...
Well, when you talk about Sith and you talk about Savage, it takes, if you have a really tricked out Savage, it's going to take some meta characters to take him out, or you'll never kill him. You know, especially if you have Zeta on him, you just put him underneath the small lead. and he's just a real pain, you know. And it could take you like 2, 3, like B plus type teams to take them out. And the problem with TW is, you know, if you get like, let's say I go in there and face your Darth Maul team and I fail, and you got all 5 guys standing still, the next person gets to go in and face the same pain in the butt leadership ability, but now this whole team has even more turn meter, you know, than they do already. So you got to be careful about you can't underestimate teams in these territory wars, because you set up the guy coming in after you to fail. Like, you know, you have to be real careful, and I think he's going to be a real pain in the butt for territory wars. But, you know, he's got a ship. People still use Marina. You can't really compete with the current meta, but it's always an option. So that is the top 10 darkside leaders. I tried really hard to get Dooku in there. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I tried. But
at least he gave it a valiant attempt. That's all that matters. You know, that's all we care about, Maurice.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. It's okay. You know, as far as Dooku's concerned, I also contemplated putting that Zeta on him a while back, and I'm so glad that I didn't do that, because I mean, just again, I think it had some viability during the Sith days, but again, it was never really enough. I feel like the 10% protection was really just not enough for him, because I don't know, he doesn't have enough HP to really sustain the battle. I mean, obviously, if you had the right pieces around, I mean, if you had God mods, you would be able to make it work regardless. But you just had to have the right setup, and I don't know. I just feel like he was. I feel like he was never, really as good as he could be. But when I first heard about that Zeta, I thought immediately to myself, like, okay, I'm doing this, But I don't know. Anyway, that was the top 10 Darkside Zeta abilities, courtesy of the Alliance and good old Maurice. Thank you very much, Maurice. These are always a ton of fun, and we'll get back next week with another one. I believe you did this one with a poll, right? So they're going to be able to do another poll, and we'll create another one for next week's show during the week. So hope you guys.
Yeah, the options will be a little more interesting. Like I will confess to the options this week being kind of lame. I didn't want to jump into the territory war stuff quite yet, but next week we'll have some stuff on there. I'll actually get to play the beta this weekend because I'll be home. So I'll have a little better feel for that personally. So, yeah, I'll put the poll up probably Tuesday or Wednesday. I'll have it up. I put it up, I think, yesterday. So I'll try to give you guys a couple more days to fill it out and think about it.
Yeah, but definitely, definitely very cool.
Yes, Panda's saying, sorry, he's mentioned it several times, too, if you're in the beta, that you need to actually sign up for the territory war. You have to get in a guild, and then you have to click enter for the actual territory war. You won't be able to participate. So be sure you do that. We had a couple guys in our guild do that. Just didn't hit the enter button in time. So be sure you got plenty of time to do it. I think there's still 16 something hours, maybe 13 now, to get in there and do that. So make sure you get to play.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. Oh, I did that poorly. Okay. I really need this heal right now from Hermit Yoda. Running out of time here. This guy must have like tenacity up the wazoo, because I can't get a stun here for my life. Okay, thank God for that. That changes things. Okay.
So how long will Hermit Yoda be in your arena team?
Until Jedi Ray's in my arena team.
Oh, okay.
No, it depends, really. That's the thing that really depends on is if I end up getting Jedi Ray and she's as good as I think she's going to be, then I may use Hermit Yoda a lot more, because depending on what type of tag she has, that really is the main thing. Is like, does she have the Jedi tag or not? And if she does, that could really have a lot to do with what I do with Hermit Yoda. But otherwise, I'm kind of also thinking about doing some sort of dark side team, with Mother Talzin and maybe even what's his name, Grand Admiral Thrawn. So, but we'll
don't
see.
sleep on that Thrawn lead. Those teams are pretty tough. I think I put my team on defense, and I think my Thrawn team. I don't know. I mean, it could be a case of somebody underestimating the team. It won 3 times. I beat 3 teams on defense with that Thrawn lead team. I don't know which teams I beat, but I got some points for defensive holds, so that was pretty cool.
He's definitely got the Zeta on CLS's unique, because I mean, I'll tell you right now, he had tenacity down, and with tenacity down, I did Jedi mind tricks, and he didn't stick 1 debuff on him, even with tenacity down. So that's pretty hardcore. Anyway, yeah, so that's basically that in a nutshell. I mean, I think that again, there's a lot of cool things to look forward to here with Territory Wars. I'm kind of curious, because this could make things interesting again. To be honest with you, I've had many discussions with people about this outside of the streams, about how I feel like Arena itself has kind of taken a hit since they've kind of normalized Arena. It just kind of feels like everybody's running the same team. It's not really a lot of fun. There's not really a ton of great viable Arena comps to throw out there on defense. Being able to run some of these old squads again and be able to put good defensive Arena teams out there, really makes Territory Wars sound very interesting. So I'm looking forward to trying that out and seeing what the possibilities are there. But moving along, I want to start getting into some questions here. Do we have any questions yet? And if not, type, guys. Let's get them going. I got Cassian's view.
Yeah, there's not really too many questions. Just Ghost going bananas in the chat here. Pandas again telling everybody to get into the actual war itself. Yeah, not really too many questions at all.
I remember there was.
Yeah. So keyboard asks, "Are you in the Territory Wars beta?" I think we both are now. Yeah, you're in this time.
Yes,
Ramon?
yes, I am.
Yeah. So
I'll be getting a lot more. I'll getting a lot better of an idea as to what we're looking at here in the next couple of days. But looks very promising. Again, I like the amount of content that they're bringing out. I remember not too long ago we were sitting here talking about how there was no content and there was just this long lull. I mean, going back to the beginning of this year, I mean, you remember how long we were complaining about there was nothing coming out, nothing interesting to talk about, no new stuff. Now it seems like there's so much stuff coming out that I don't even know, where to stop, or where to start. It's like it's so much stuff. But yeah, Panda, absolutely. I tried to find the Alpha Guild, but I couldn't find it, so hold me a spot. But yeah. So.
Panda's asking when you're going to do your territory battles.
Yeah.
Hans Omar von Harold Duerte, I'm sure I butchered your name, man. Sorry. For free-to-play people, what are the best things to farm? Teams, ships, or mods? I guess he's talking about characters, ships, or mods.
Right. Well, I would say. I mean, that's a really tough question to answer. It's. I don't know. It's a pretty involved question.
You need characters, and once you have, because you got to think Territory Wars is coming, so you're gonna need multiple teams. I guess as a new player, I guess you need the characters to build 2 teams, right? So get yourself 2 teams, and out of those characters, you're gonna want to have like a rank horse set up and maybe a couple teams to throw the tank, and you want to get these characters up to 7-star, put some gear on them. And then maybe slowly, a lot of people like to do the split shift type of farming, like, and then now that we have all extra crystals available in the game, you can really afford to maybe do 1 or 2 Cantina refreshes a day. So maybe just do 1 of mods and then 1 of characters. Because you do need mods. Mods really do win Arena. We looked at the meta report and you see the same characters over and over and over again. But like if you can have those characters, you don't have any mods, they're not going to do you any good. What I would suggest is talk about ships. You should pick. It depends if you want to go light side or dark side, and you're going to want one of your characters to be Tarkin or Akbar. Both of those characters have speed leads on them, and you can kind of sub them in and kind of make up for the difference. If you lack the mods, those leaders will give you speed. They're both fleet commanders, so that you knock out two birds with one stone there, kind of. So, what you want to do is maybe build some teams, including the pilots, so you kind of just multitask all your farms, I guess. Like maybe do TIE fighter pilot out of Cantina, because then you've got a decent character to put underneath your Tarkin lead, and then you also have one of the best ships in the game underneath the Tarkin fleet commander. So just kind of double dip as much as you can. You get that all set up, and then really hit mods hard once you got like a viable arena team, like a Rancor team, and some fleet, I guess. And then territory battles and stuff you obviously want to prep for, but that's, if you're a newer player, that's not really, you need to focus on other, I think. So.
Yeah, I would think you got to focus on characters first before ships or anything else right off the bat. But really, the reason I was saying it's an incomplete question is because it depends on where you are in the game. If you're at a point now where you have a developed roster already, your focus might be able to switch, or you should probably focus on something else. But since I don't know where you're at, the priority is always going to be characters, I'd say, first, above anything else.
Well, if you have been playing a while, you probably want to do mods, because in this territory wars, you cannot swap mods. So you can have all the characters in the game, but if you don't have any mods, you can't just swap them in and out. Like, you have to mod every character you want to use, you have to put mods on, and then they stick and they lock in. So you will need depth. You might not need A+ mods across the board, but you will need mod depth, just lots of mods. So it's a tough position. We were talking about this in the chat the other night, just how valuable Cantina energy is in the game. It's a very, very valuable commodity. Possibly the most important resource behind crystals, I think, at this point. But it's yeah.
It's important nonetheless.
Yeah. Let's see. We got some potty mouths in here. Wolf Warriors. Do you know who Wolf Warriors is?
Yeah, I see that.
I'm just gonna go ahead and block that guy. There we go. All right.
I know that Swamp Donkey had a question.
Yeah, we're getting. I see that down there. There was one more. I think Abner Dune asked us a question, as well. Trying to find. I can't find it now with this Wolf Warrior spamming. Okay, what is the preferred kill order in territory battles? I guess he's asking which, you get your snow troopers, you've got your commanders, your TIE fighter pilots, your tank drivers, I guess they are, and then the special ops, the snow trooper ops.
I would say that
when you go in, which order do you kill these characters in on territory battles?
Personally, I go for the snow trooper ops first because they don't trigger any other characters, and then obviously the snow troopers, they counterattack, and the snow trooper commanders, they trigger a taunt. So the snow trooper ops seem like the best option to start off with. Also, they do a ton of damage, so I think they should be a primary target for you. But then after that, I would say I'd go for the snow trooper commanders, because in most cases, if you get either to have a character that has counterattack, like let's say a CLS lead, or let's say you have, for example, Kenobi in there, and you throw retribution on all your allies, you're gonna be able to wipe out those snow troopers with counterattacks. So I usually try to save them for the counters, and then I do attacks to the other characters, and like I said, focus primarily first on the OBSs or OPSs. Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah. You say it again. You're talking about the ops?
Yeah, ops. Yeah, the OPSs are the characters.
That's really who I kill first. But I play TV kind of weird. I use a lot of Dispel, so I usually do kill the ops first, unless there's a snow trooper with a skull over his head. Then I'll try to daze or stun him and just take him out, because you get him going, he starts calling assists and just ruins your team. But I usually go ops, snow trooper. Then I usually leave the commanders for last, and people argue that all the time. So I use a lot of Dispel on my teams. So, like, if they pop the taunt or pop the protection up, I can just wipe it out. You use Baze, Ezra's got one, Qui-Gon Jinn's got one. Lots of characters have Dispel now. So I usually go ops, snowtrooper. If there's a skull droid, I'll go after that, and then just the fodder. I do kill the tank guy relatively easy. The ATST driver, honestly, just because I don't really have any idea what he does, so I just kill him. That's terrible advice, but like I usually go for them and TIE fighter pilots last, and then I do the commanders because I don't like just random taunts going up everywhere when you start killing the commanders first, but that's just how I do it. I'm not saying that's the proper way to do it. The droid, he said, what about the droids? I generally, unless it's P5 or P6, I just eat the droids. Like, I don't even focus on them unless they have a skull.
Right. Yeah, obviously the elites always first. I'd say priority would be elites and snowtrooper op elites would be the first. And then I'd say after that, snowtrooper commanders, especially, if they're elites. And then with the snowtroopers being the last ones. Or actually, no, I'd say the snowtrooper ops and then the droids, then the snowtrooper commanders, then the
basically I don't think we have any idea.
No, the droids. I forgot the probe droids. The probe droids would be second. I would go with the probe droids second. That would be the second ones I attack. But yeah, basically, I have no idea what I'm talking about. Yeah, no. Moving along though. I think, like I said, I think the primary has got to be.
Screen the question. Sorry, Ab, I really let you down there, buddy.
No, this
all right.
The snowtrooper OBS, those are definitely the first ones you want to go for, without a doubt. Especially if they're elites. Now, if you have no choice, if let's say it's a decision between going for an elite snowtrooper commander versus standard OPS, I would go for the elite snowtrooper commander then, because you want to get rid of the elites right away, I think. Especially if there's only one, you want to get it out of there. Just get rid of it. Now, Swamp Donkey asks, do we have to have Vethan and Chewie for the Rey Legendary event? I really do not want to farm them at all. Okay, well, yeah, your guess is as good as mine right now. I believe that they gave us the event and told us that it was going to be a Hero's Journey event like Luke's for us to speculate. And with speculation means there's people right now farming, the veterans just to get prepared for it. It'd be kind of screwy, I think, to tell everybody, this and just, have all these people, farming the vets and then, tell us months from now that the vets aren't, a character that's necessary. But I also feel like if they drop that information and there's only a small portion of the general, player base that has, let's say the veterans done, there's going to be a lot of complaints about people that aren't able to get Jedi Rey. So I don't know. That's another factor to think about too. I think there's going to be some negative feedback because of that. So I don't know. We'll have to see. But I feel like yes. I mean, in my opinion, I would say yes. I think they're going to be required.
I think they are too. But if you do, it's a little late now. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. If you're placing top 5 both arenas and you budget your crystals, you can pull a 320 pack out of the shipments every day for one of the characters, and slowly get them up. I've actually, this is all I've done is pull 1 4-pack a day, and I've almost got them both to 6-star. But I started as soon as they got into the shipments. And even if you go this route and you get them, it's not the end of the world because they are usable characters. They're great for TB because they're not currently. This could change. I mean, they're not currently in the platoons, so you can just kind of add them to your bag of tricks of characters that you'll never have to platoon. You can start coughing up, the better characters because you won't need them quite as much because you'll have, and they're good characters. They do a lot of damage, especially in a PvE setting. Chewie, if you can prolong the battle. He can really pump out some damage with that stacking offense that he has. His basic's pretty good. Han's got a great AoE. They're good characters. They have Zetas, but I don't think they're required Zetas. They're just like armor penetration and stuff, which armor penetration is actually quite nice against, I want to say like raid bosses, but unless there's something I don't know about, like this armor penetration not functioning properly on them. I don't know. But it's, yeah. So if you farm them and they're not needed, you're not completely out of luck. You didn't waste your crystals. So
they're great. They're great characters. I think they're great characters. Yeah. I think both of them are fantastic. I think they'll help your team in lots of aspects of the game. So even if you get them and it doesn't end up being that way, I feel like you didn't waste your investment. They're still fantastic characters overall. I mean, so it's something to think about. But
you will have. I don't know if it'll be a massive amount of time, but you could have 5 days, 10 days, 2 weeks. To kind of farm them, and if they had a cantina, maybe save some crystals. If we get lucky and one of them pops in the like any of the stores, like Galactic War Arena store, I'd go ahead. Maybe you might want to consider saving some currency and saving a little bit of crystals. So in the event you need to kind of panic and farm them quickly, you can just refresh the shop and you'll have the currency available to purchase them. So just start hoarding currency, I guess, just in case. Be the best play.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, listen, are they going to be difficult to get last minute? Absolutely. So I mean, if you really want Jedi Ray and you have your heart set on it, and this is a character that you're willing to make an investment for, because that's what you'd have to do right now. I mean, listen, if you wanted to go for Jedi Ray now, you'd have to invest in the veterans. So if she's a character that you're willing to make an investment for, I would say go for it. I mean, again, you're not going to be taking a risk here. I think too much on this character. I think that Rey is going to be, if not as good as Commander Luke Skywalker, maybe even better than Commander Luke Skywalker. So I mean, who knows? I mean, she's the heir apparent, right? So she's going to be ridiculous, guys. I mean, she's going to be really, really good. So I'm assuming that again, if you guys are in a situation where you want to, have Jedi Ray for your arena squad, if you feel like it's going to, really help you stay competitive in arena, then I would say, go for it and don't even think about it again. I mean, she's going to be a great character, and if you do it slowly out of the shipments with these characters, you can really get them pretty cheap. And it's not the same as buying characters out of Chromium. So you can buy a vault. Let's say if you want to make $100 investment, or buy 2 vaults, make a $200 investment, and then over the next 30 days just farm them out of the shipments. I would just buy a vault. Just buy the 320s whenever you see them, and then as you get closer to the event, they'll have some sort of a deal for you to get them a little bit cheaper. They may even do double drops and put them in a farmable location. I don't know how it's going to roll out, if at all. But I am excited about it because, again, either way, even if I'm unable to attain Jedi Ray, these characters are going to be really cool. So I'll be happy just to have, Han and Chewie. They're just good characters to add to any squad. They'll help out a lot with. I believe are they considered? They're considered light sides. You can use them for territory battles, And Han, I Smuggler Han, I feel like he could be a real good option in arena too. So something to think about. Any more questions?
Yeah, there's a couple more. Okay. Let's see. We got one from Hans asked another one. Hold on a second. He says, I've seen some teams like Resistance and Phoenix, but I just started, so it's hard to focus what to want or what to need. How do I make a good team to do Rancor and Galactic War, not top 3? Well, I mean, if your focus is, if you're wanting to focus on Rancor, you're not going to want either one of those teams, Phoenix or Resistance, but you will need both of those teams. Both of those teams are Resistance is just overall, arguably the best overall faction right now for just overall purpose of just usable in every area of the game except for Rancor. But they're a great option for Galactic War. Resistance are. In Phoenix, you're going to need to acquire Thrawn, which will eventually leads to getting their ships to get the Chimera capital ship. And then also you'll need them for 2 missions in the territory battles. I think it's P1 that you use the Phoenix on to get a little bit of extra currency for your team. And then in P5, there's a mandatory Phoenix mission that we're in now. You can open up the TB and look, and you'll see you need the Phoenix for this specific area. They're the required teams for more in-game type stuff, so it wouldn't be a terrible idea to start working on them. But if you want a Rancor team, you're going to want to just plug away your Vader and build like a Vader resistance team. Since you said you just started, I'm assuming you don't have CLS, so you're going to want to do Vader, or you could use, I would say Asajj, but just Night Sisters aren't really helpful to you as a newer player, I guess. I guess if you, I don't know. I'm on the fence about whether or not I need to start suggesting Night Sisters to new players or not. I don't know yet. But Vader Empire team is going to be the easiest one. You're going to need Jyn for that team for the Rancor. I'm kind of all over the place with this answer. I'm sorry, man. Never mind. But
yeah, no. Can you repeat the question for me again?
Okay, it says, I have seen some teams like Resistance and Phoenix, but I just started, so it's hard to focus what to want or what to need. How do I make a good team to do Rancor and Galactic War?
Well, I feel like you can answer both of those. I mean, yeah, Resistance and Phoenix are great, but I feel like you could answer both of those questions with one team, and I think that a great team for both raids or for Galactic War are the Rogue One characters. So Jyn Erso, Baze, Chirrut. Now some of these characters are harder to get. Baze is a long farm. So the fortunate thing about him is he's actually a viable character at 3 stars. So you can use him pretty well. Again, I just feel like if you're looking for a team that's going to be able to get you through Arena, be able to get you through Galactic War, and then be able to get you through some raids, the Rogue One team can definitely help you out with that. Now the Arena, though, is a completely different story. So if you were focused on that and that was your primary need here, I would say that you definitely want to also consider running a team like possibly an Empire squad. I would think obviously some of these characters like Grand Admiral Thrawn are behind events or legendary events, but throughout the course of this game you're going to have to make or get some of these characters. So I mean it's going to be a necessity to work on trying to get, let's say, Grand Admiral Thrawn or Yoda or R2D2, with R2D2 really probably being the primary, because R2D2 really has a ton of use in every facet of this game. So I mean you could use R2D2 on a Rebel squad, you could use R2D2 on a on really any squad, Jedi squad. So I would say, yeah. I mean, the quicker you can get to that point where you're forming characters like him, the better. But again, just to answer your question, as far as a viable squad that can get you through all the parts of the game, I would say, you want to probably go with some sort of a Rebel squad, because they're going to be viable in every area. They're going to also help you get characters that you need throughout the game. For example, like I said, R2D2, or that's what you need for R2D2, right? Is Rebels?
Empire.
Empire. Okay, so what do you get with Rebels again? I forget. Is it
Palpatine?
Palpatine. Okay. Well, unfortunately, Palpatine's actually not that important these days. So it's tough to say. I'll be honest with you. I've thought about this a lot, and it's a totally different world now than it was when we first started playing this game. So there's all new characters that are the best, and it's tough to say what the best farming guide is now. I would love to go back to the beginning. I've thought about this, like just starting an alt and going back to the beginning to see where where the best way to start would be now, like where the best farming guide would be, because there isn't really like a good comprehensive farming guide anymore these days about where you should start now. So it'd be interesting to think about that. But every time I think about starting a new alt, it gets I get really the first time I do like a battle, it gets very depressing, because I don't want to start all over in the game again. It's very frustrating to go back to doing the initial levels and working your way all the way back up. You forget how much game you actually played to get to the point that you're at now. To get to level 85 and have all these characters done and everything. It takes a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of effort that you're putting in every day.
Well, then you run out of sim tickets.
Right.
Like I've started quite a few alts, over the last couple of years. Just like you run into a wall where you run out of sim tickets. Like if you're playing, like if you're just starting and you can't really get high in arena, you don't really make the crystals. Like you run out of them and you have to sit there and like open the battle and play it. At least there's an auto button, but you have to open the battle manually play it. So that's usually what turns me off. And I just dump the alt. But
right. All right. Any last questions before we wrap it up?
Yeah, we got one more. We'll do one more, I guess. Yeah, this one is from Jose Garcia. How should I be modding CLS? Speed set with crit chance, or crit damage with crit chance, or something different? How do you like to mod CLS?
I would go with. It depends on what you're running with him. Again, if you're running let's say an Akbar lead where you're going to be getting speed anyway for him or something like that. Maybe I would go with crit chance and crit damage. But if you're just running CLS as a leader, then I would say you want to go with speed sets. You want to go with speed sets and possibly even I don't know. Do you think a tenacity set to go with his Zeta, or do you think a potency set?
I would probably use potency over tenacity, just because I personally it binds all things Zeta, so increase the chance of him dropping. And even though he gets the passive boost to it, just every little bit helps. Because he drops the debuffs and he gives Terminator to the team. So I personally like potency, but I don't have the other Zeta that you're talking about. I don't have that. So if you did, that would be an option. Basically, the game is evolving, and yes, you want to have your arena teams, but you need to make all of your characters flexible. Because CLS is a prime example, because you need him in TB, you'll definitely need him in Territory Wars, and you'll need him across the board arena. So I would actually take I would look in the SWGOH.gg at your mods and look up your crit damage mods and find the fastest set of those you can find out of all your characters and put them on CLS. Maybe I'm not sure how long you've been playing, but the 10 plus speeds that you have on a crit damage set, put those on. And crit chance, if you have the Zeta, if you got them all Zetaed out, you can do potency or tenacity, but I would just do crit damage and crit chance, like you actually said in your question, just for all around purpose. You use him in the raids, so you're gonna need him in every aspect.
Agreed. But all right, guys, it's been a pleasure, and we're going to go ahead and wrap this stream up here. It's been a pleasure having you guys for the Alliance live show number 31. Again, we'll be back next week. Next week we'll be here on a Saturday, so tune in late night Saturday next week. We'll be here. If you want to get yourself a notification that the stream is going to be starting, just click on that bell on my channel, and it'll give you a notification that we're up and going. And again, I as always really appreciate you guys sticking it out to the end here. We had a little bit of a long one this week. We'll actually be done with this Territory Wars beta by then, so I'll have a little bit more feedback on Territory Wars and where we're at with that. Also, I'm sure that as we get closer to The Last Jedi coming out here, there'll be even some cooler stuff coming out here over the next couple of weeks, so there'll be a lot of stuff to discuss. So just looking forward to all that, and just getting ready for Jedi Ray to come into the game and see where we're at. But if you guys want to come chat with us, we're going to be in Discord after this, for a little while. I'm working on a couple of different. Oh no! Oh wow! I almost just got wiped out there. Man, is this gonna cancel this? Oh yeah. Bam. Anyway, yeah. So I appreciate it, guys. I'll be on the Real Sith of Genius. Sorry, the Reality Skew Gamers Real Sith of Genius. Man, it's been a while since then. The Reality Skew Gamers live show tomorrow morning. That starts at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Check out their channel if you haven't yet. And again, if you guys want to join us after the show, we'll be in the Discord. Just go over to the ALLIDNCEgaming.com and follow the instructions there to join us. But I appreciate you guys. May the Force be with you, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
See you guys.
Peace.